Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
That's right, Kevin O'Connell. Away we bleeping go. But there's something wrong with the screen. Let's see. It's me. It's Declan. Have you seen Phil?
I haven't seen Phil.
Where are you hiding Phil?
I'm not hiding Phil. I moved out to the burbs. I moved away from you and Phil. So I'm hiding from you personally, but that's a different
I'm in the
story.
burbs. I'm in the western burbs. You're in the eastern burbs. Never the tween shall cross. So that's fine. Phil off today, but that does not mean that a show that runs 365 days a year, 7 days a week is off. The live stream, the Feedback Friday of PD is back, folks. And before we get to the comments, which are going to be read, which have been vetted by Declan, extra work for Declan, who's already swamped, I want to tell you about a place where if you're swamped, it's going to make your life easier, and that is our friends at Quick Trip. Quick Trip is the place to go if you need, gasoline, if you need a snack, if you need dinner, for instance. Anything that you need, a Quick Trip is going to help you with because they make your life as simple as possible, including the Quick Trip Order Ahead system, the app. All that you have to do is go to your Quick Rewards app. They take care of the payment ahead of time, or you do. Orders can be picked up in store or brought to your car curbside. Order all your Quick Trip favorites. We're talking fried chicken, pizza, take-home meals. Be sure to look for additional fuel savings as well by ordering ahead with Quick Trip. Quick Trip, making your life as simple as possible in a time of that we're often harried. All right, Declan, let's get to the comments. What do you got?
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback questions from our Kevin O'Connell episode from earlier this week. Go check that out if you haven't already. Some questions about Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, and as well as some snake draft comments. By the way, we will still be doing a snake draft at the end of this show. Our guy A.J. Fredrickson is making his way into the studio as we speak, so we will have a snake draft. And today's topic: best things to grill. Best things to grill. That is our snake draft topic. We will get into that at the back end of this episode. Mm-hmm. All right, let's start with the feedback here, though, Jeb. From Some Bad Mojo on YouTube. He said, here's a Kwesi KOC question. If JJ doesn't start for 3 years, what's the realistic dream scenario, understanding of the expiring of current contracts? Year 1, Darnold starts. Year 2 and 3, who would you bring in for JJ to learn from? I guess if JJ is not starting for 3 years, which, again, maybe that's possible, but I think that would mean Sam. But like if that happened, Sam Darnold would have to play so damn well for you to lock into Sam Darnold, and McCarthy couldn't take a step forward enough to do that. Well,
and Darnold would have to get a huge contract, which you wouldn't give him. If JJ McCarthy is on the bench for 3 years, my guess is everyone gets fired. Like there's no way that's part of any like this is not a Packers thing. First of all, he is let's back up for a second. Keep one very important thing from draft night, which was of course outstanding at the Fillmore. Let's keep one very important thing in mind here. J.J. McCarthy is the first quarterback to be taken in the top 10 in the history of a franchise that's been around since 1961. Okay? There is nothing other than him being a bomb, and I mean being terrible, or some type of tragedy unspeakable that would cause this. So, no. I'm not even going to entertain this because it literally would result in people being fired if in 3 years it's like, oh yeah, we can't start him.
Yeah, so, that would be...
No, I'm not going there. It's not plausible.
Yeah, he'd have to really be slow in his development and
be a bust.
And it would be a bust. It wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good at all. Jim says, if Sam Darnold can play up to his potential, this can be a dangerous team. The only question mark will be the ability to stop the run on defense, something that's been a sieve for the Vikings and something that Judd Zolgad has been preaching for 3 years. Yeah. We got spoiled for 18, 20 years, Judd, up until 2020 with the Williams Wall, with Linval Joseph.
Yeah.
A lot of great players on that defensive line forever. But the last 3 years, it's been the Swiss cheese, people just running up that A gap against the Vikings.
So your entire life of being a Vikings fan until the last 3 years, they always stop the run,
Yes.
right?
Literally, what's interesting is they've always been good at stopping the run up until the point you're talking about. But they never collectively had the great defense until 16, 17, or 17, 18 with Zim, like collectively. But I didn't know what it was like to not stop the run or watching Vikings football until 2020.
Yeah. So I love this question. Now, the offense does have the components to be dangerous, and yeah, if Darnold plays well, that's an if. Like, we just don't know there. But I love that last point. That is exactly right. And I guess here's the question too. Who from the interior defensive line, i.e. stopping the run, is going to emerge? And here's my second question. What does the addition of Blake Cashman mean there as well?
Yeah.
For support in stopping the run potentially? But yeah, it has been, I think, one of the most jarring things to Vikings fans in their 30s is probably this, which is you always stopped the run. What happened? And that's where they didn't address yet. And yes, guys could emerge, but that's a very good point. And that's where I think Brian Flores, to a certain degree, Dex, is going to have to spend another year getting at least semi-creative, because I don't think we're going to see the Vikings add guys that we're confident can stop the run until next year, likely in free agency.
What do you make of Blake Cashman, though, Judd? Like, he was a solid backup for a while. Last year took a huge step forward. Do you think that the amount of snaps and the amount of playing time he got last year was actually sustainable, and that's a good player to have on the field all the time like he was with the Texans last year?
I think he's a good player. I think here is the problem. Much like you work the Twins clubhouse to soothe scoops out, to report things that might not be reported elsewhere, I was talking to some folks out at the mini camp a couple of weeks ago now, and here's the thing with Blake Cashman. He gets banged up a lot. He gets hurt a lot. So I don't think his ability when he's on the field is in question, but to go with the old Bud Grant thing, your most important ability is availability. And I think that's where the question comes in, because if Blake Cashman gets hurt, then is like Asamoah who comes in, who they clearly don't trust. So I don't think we're talking about a big question of Blake Cashman isn't going to be good. I think the question is, can he stay healthy playing consistently? And that's going to be what people are going to be keeping an eye on, I think.
This from Robe2504 from your 53-man roster projection, kind of in the same vein we're talking about right here. He says, I think Judd makes a very important point. Flores likes guys with certain specs, so any free agent he has brought in are probably a big chance of making the roster. Now, Blake Cashman's going to make the roster. No one's saying that, but clearly Flores is influence here. And after talking with KOC on Wednesday about, and I'm not saying he completely ignores the defensive side of the ball. He is the head coach. He's working with Kwesi with the personnel, the 53. I think when he deferred to Ed Donatel the first time, you realize, I shouldn't have done that in terms of scheme and everything else. But I think with Brian Flores at the helm, I do think there is a level of deferral where even KOC, who does probably have conversation with Brian about the defense, can probably also sit back and realize, I'll let that chef cook up a meal while I worry about a bunch of other things.
I think that's fair. Well, and that was the goal with Ed as well. Like, he let Ed do things, and it turned out to be a disaster because he picked a chef who probably ideally would have been at Burger King or McDonald's, grilling up some burgers or, so I think O'Connell, and I mean, O'Connell has made it clear since the day he stepped in at the door that he is a head coach with an offensive first mentality. He doesn't try to hide that. And so in Flores, yes, I think he's got a guy now that he trusts, and a guy who, until the team got banged up late in the season last year defensively, and, to a certain degree, I think some of what Flores was trying to do got figured out by opponents. I think they very much are deferring. And Kwesi definitely does, because he's not a scouting football guy. Like, he is literally at the mercy of he has opinions. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he is at the mercy of his football people telling him what they need, and then him figuring out the best way to go get that. So yeah, I think it's incredibly fair to say, and this is why the longer Flores stays, the better. There is no question that Brian Flores has, I think, some very important personnel control that then translates to what he wants on the field. And I don't know that he gets, let's say, overruled much, if at all. I think they basically say, Brian, to your point, Dex, go cook it up. We'll watch it. We'll oversee it. But this is your baby.
We've definitely turned this Feedback Friday into much more of a defensive feedback here, and I'm working on the fly because I now have more questions about the defense. This from Grey Wolf 0650. Could the Vikings possibly move or transition Gabriel Murphy, the highly paid UDFA who was, I believe, like a top 150 guy on big boards? Could they move him to interior linebacker?
Oh, I would need to see more of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't really, full disclosure, at the 3 days of the mini camp I attended, I, not surprisingly, watched offense a lot because I was curious about Darnold and McCarthy. I don't know. I think his forte is rushing. I think his forte is outside. So my feeling would be he would probably have to change his body, and I don't know that he would want to. My guess is when you sign a guy like that, so if a guy falls through the draft, it actually is not bad, because if you're a seventh round pick, you don't get paid a ton, and you have to go to where you're drafted, right? Yeah. So like if I get taken by a team that's not a good fit, I'm screwed. Murphy, once the draft was done, had the ability to pick a team. I'm guessing he didn't pick a team that said, hey, dude, you could play inside, you could play outside. So I think he's very much going to get a chance to play where he is most comfortable. Long term, I don't know, but that's just my 2 cents.
A couple more things on the defense here before we'll get to the offense. Jerry Starka on YouTube says, I expect the defense to be the backbone of this year's team. Vast improvements in personnel, much better depth in linebackers and edge rushers. Goes on to talk about the depth, too, at safeties and corners. Corner depth, even though it's there, I don't know if I would be banking on the cornerbacks. Right. It's probably also their weakest spot.
Right.
But we talked about, and we're going to definitely do a full dive on this because we talked about it earlier this week about rookie quarterback, pass attempts, what that means for success. Vikings obviously gave Kirk Cousins a lot of pass attempts last year. How does that look this year? I think with Kirk being out of the picture here, Judd, they won't be asking Sam Darnold to throw the ball 38 times a game like they did with Kirk. So the running game, the defense, I think all the external things that aren't at the quarterback position that KOC's been able to lean on with Kirk are going to come out this year. And it's going to be a supporting cast, not just one position that's leading the charge like it was with Kirk. It feels like the supporting cast is definitely going to have to carry the Vikings and not necessarily Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy, whoever is at quarterback.
Yeah, I think there's a few things here. Is one, yes. I mean, is Darnold going to throw the ball 38 times once in a while? Perhaps. I don't know. Like, we have to see how O'Connell calls a non-Kirk game. But is that going to be the plan? No, it can't be. And it shouldn't be. And look, when McCarthy starts to play, it shouldn't be. And it won't be. You're not going to... O'Connell's a smart enough guy. He's not going to take a guy like Darnold, and especially down the road McCarthy, and set them up to fail. So, yes, the supporting cast is going to have to do more. Here's my question, and it's just a small thing. It's just a speck in a multitude of things here. But my question is this. So, the Vikings, I want to say the last two years, and I don't have the statistics in front of me right now, but I believe at least one of those years, if not both years, they were pretty high in 3 and outs. And part of that was, they might run on first down, get a couple of yards, and then they would throw, and that was it. They throw back to back, and then they punt, and they put the defense right back on the field. I wonder if in the run game being incorporated more, and the offense, to what we're talking about, changing with Darnold starting, I wonder if we are going to see more extended drives because, run pass is not great, but it was Kirk. And so I think that there was a trust there that, hey, this might work for a big play. I'm sure Brian Flores would appreciate if his defense didn't get thrust on the field as quickly sometimes. So, like, there's a lot of things. I guess the best term for this is there's a lot of game flow things. There's a football thing. There's a lot of game flow things I'm very curious about to see with Kirk gone and with a quarterback who I think O'Connell will trust, but he can't have the same trust as he probably did with Cousins.
Let's see here. We'll go to the offensive stuff here. This is from Phil, I don't think Phil Mackey.
You don't know. He's not here. He could.
It's true. Could be Phil. As a Vikings fan, well, now we know it's not Phil. As a Vikings fan, I only lean slightly towards the over on 6.5. I wouldn't put money on it, though. They had some bad turnovers at the beginning of the season, so I don't see how the puck luck, using a hockey term here, gets any worse. They do have a tough schedule, though, and Darnold is a big question mark. This year is about development, though, so I don't care what our record is. We've talked about this a few times of whether it's 7-10. I don't think they're bad enough really to be 4-13, but if they are 4-13 with Sam Darnold, and maybe McCarthy's learning some things and gets some playing time and shows you something, is that the worst thing? Is that the absolute worst thing that could happen to this franchise?
Well, first of all, no, but I'll add this. I think a lot, and this is, I am very excited to watch this team. And it's not because I'm expecting great things. It's because the curiosity to me has not been this high in ages. I think that at the end of the day, for Vikings fans, this is going to be what I would call an eye test season. So if you're 4-13 and you're undisciplined and you're stupid and guys are regressing, is that a concern? Absolutely. If you're 4-13, but you're seeing things, right? You're seeing things. And Addison's playing great. Jefferson's playing well, in which case you probably win more than 4 games, but let's just say your defense sieves out at times. I don't know, but this to me is an eye test year. Are the people that need to develop developing? That's the most important thing. Are elements gelling? So I really think that, like, the look of, I think the record in a rare season, the record is not as important as how the team looks, because I think everybody agrees that this team should hit the ground running with McCarthy a quarterback in 2025.
Another question here, I believe, from Robe 2024. He says, I think the 2023 season is irrelevant reference for the Vikings. The 2024 roster seems younger, faster, and deeper across the board compared to even the 2022 division-winning team. Mm-hmm. Some folks are reading way too much into the difference between Cousins and Darnold. Cousins was an 8-win guy in Washington and still an 8-win guy in Minnesota until KOC got there. Darnold was an 8-9 with the dysfunctional Carolina Panthers, so I'm pretty sure he can win plenty of games with KOC and the Vikes.
Boy, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, you can't dismiss the fact that Cousins was successful with O'Connell. Like, right. Yes, I get your point, and this show, as everybody knows, is not big Kirk fans. But the fact is, he put together a year plus of really good football at quarterback playing for O'Connell. So that can't be undone. Like this is not the Zim Vikings. The turnovers is a good point. And to your point, Dex, we discussed this, I think, a couple days ago. The turnover thing often doesn't repeat itself. And the year before, the Vikings were great there. And so, yes, if you go back and play last year, and you can't do this, and I get that, but if you strip out some of those just key mistakes, right, the fumbles, whatever, that team is going to be far more successful. But I'm not sure about you here, but I mean, how much importance are you putting on, or how much of your excitement is generated by what the record is going to be in 24? Because that's just not where my excitement comes from. I want to see this team develop into a new chapter.
That's interesting. I mean, there is an excitement that always happens, when your football season finally rolls around, and the off season doesn't seem as long because of how exciting things are in the off season anymore. Like 6-7 years ago, when it was this time of year, it was just the slow crawl. Like, you know how this used to go. Like, it was just a slow crawl to get to the start of the season. Now I feel like with everything, for right or wrong reasons, having a just microscope under every little thing we're doing, whether it's mini camp observations, OTAs, just the coverage of the NFL or your favorite team, it's exciting. So then once the season rolls around, can you start to really roll things and get things going, and what does that look like? This is a season of uncertainty for the Vikings, I think, and that part's interesting. I can't really remember, maybe I'm wrong here, Judd, but like the 2011 Vikings with Ponder and McNabb, like I feel like this is not a shrug season, but like I don't know which direction that this season is going to go in.
Right. The thing about the McNabb Ponder thing is
2011.
The McNabb thing, especially back then, because with Christian we didn't know, but the McNabb thing felt really doomed. Like, it didn't feel like I guess I'm more enthusiastic now because I also think that they are turning a page at a lot of places. So it's not just QB, which is obviously the most important one, right? But like the defensive things, that to me, and we sort of forget the end of the Zimmer era, that defense, which had been great, was bad. It got really bad. I mean, it deteriorated, and they didn't know what to do, and it was sort of odd. But I guess there's uncertainty's a correct word, but I'm far more positive about like the curiosity here. I mean, I remember going to training camp for the Strib in 11 to cover that team, and McNabb, that's the infamous introductory press conference. Burger King were coming. McDonald's were coming, me and the offensive line. It's like, dude, you're quarterback. You don't need to be doing that. You don't need to eat all that. And he was serious. I mean, and the other thing about the McNabb thing and how that unfolded, and like Darnold is not a sure thing, but I do think there's potential there. McNabb was at the end, right?
Yeah.
And if you remember, the Vikings actually, one of their few wins in 2010, I don't think it was Les's first game, but it might have been, after Brad got fired, was against Washington, Mike Shanahan, and McNabb had been traded to Washington. And if you remember, he was awful. His arm was shot, and it's like, this guy's got nothing. And the next thing you know, the Vikings obtain him. So uncertainty is a correct word here, but my uncertainty is actually also offset by a positive curiosity here.
Sure.
2011 felt like it was just going to be an extension of the woes of 2010. So I'm actually far more optimistic. And the point in the comment about 2000, about the last time that this all took place is right. So yeah, I'm going with a positive curiosity.
Positive curiosity. I'll also figure out a word. I got to figure out a word. Because it's not, I know shrug sounds like, it sounds negative. And I think there's going to be fun, like, them not being the 2011 Vikings comparison. Like, the weapons here are way better. And that included Adrian Peterson, who was still really good and still running the football, was a very important part of the NFL at that time. But, God, who was the number one wide receiver then? Was Bernard Berrien still here? I don't even know if Bernard was still here at that point.
In 11?
Percy Harvin was still here. He was exciting. But...
Yep.
But yeah, there wasn't the collection of depth like there is with this offense, regardless of who's playing quarterback.
And in fairness too, the disappointment of 2009 never really went away.
Yeah,
like that was still loomed large, and it felt like you had shot your shot. Like this is 2000. The comment about 2022 is intriguing because as much fun. I mean, they won 13 games. Kirk was fantastic. 8 fourth quarter comebacks, which tied, I believe, a record. All of that was a lot of fun. But that was a team where at the start, if you recall, at the start of training camp, we're all like, you're running this all back? And it worked until the playoff game against the Giants. But, I mean, that was not a team that we had, like, high hopes for.
Right.
Like when that year started, we were all like, oh, okay, I guess you're not going to make changes. And I remember talking about this, and we questioned it. We're like, you have an opportunity here. You're all new. Just make some changes. And they're like, everybody's coming back. It ultimately worked short term. I'm far more enthusiastic about what they're doing now.
Absolutely. Another batch of feedback questions coming up here. But by the way, if you didn't already, if you were looking to get a Father's Day tea time at the Meadows at Mystic Lake, go check out golfthemeadows.com to do so. Regardless, if there's no tea times available, it's just a great place to play some golf. Short drive away from the Twin Cities. If you're ever coming in to the Twin Cities and you're looking for a place to play, go check out the Meadows at Mystic Lake. Also a great pro shop. They got the GPS infused carts. It's an awesome spot. Yeah, Judd's wearing his Sports Dad shirt today.
Happy Father's Day, everybody. Happy Father's Day.
Take your Sports Dad to go play golf.
Yep.
Judd loves to golf.
No, I'll ride in the cart and drink some
But
beers.
Judd did, yeah, exactly. That's nothing wrong with that. Judd did
Number one
pipe
Sports Dad.
a par 3 right on the green after not swinging a golf club for what, 15, 20 years?
Left-hander was a sweet swing too.
Lefty.
It was just that left-handed stroke.
That long Kirloff, long swing.
Yeah, the left-handed swing is gorgeous.
It is.
Tony Gwynn, Rodney Carew, Judd Zolgad, all gorgeous swings.
Go check out the Meadows at Mystic Lake. We will have a snake draft here in about 10, 15 minutes with AJ Fredrickson. We'll be doing the best grill items, which will be an exciting snake draft.
I've already got some ideas written down.
A couple other feedback, random questions here. Steven says, I look how intent Judd is when KOC speaks. High character guys between KOC and Judd Zolgad.
You know, I ask questions. It's up to me to show the respect that a person deserves when they answer said questions thoroughly. That's why I'm intent. That's why I'm intent. Plus, he tends to go on, so you have to follow his
He does.
answers. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way, but like he gets into it, which is awesome, which is great. It's great content. But you know, you definitely don't get the cliched 3 sentences. And so like he'll also take a question and he'll answer the question, but then he'll also work in thoughts off that question. And so you have to pay attention. It's like being a student of football. It's a football class. You got to pay attention, right? Like you respect the teacher. You're listening to the answer.
Michael says, KOC knows how to work a crowd. Good things happen to good people. KOC is a student of the game, builds from his mistakes. He will build a Super Bowl team if Kwesi can find him the parts. Very aware of his surroundings. Be patient. I always like to say, and I haven't done this in quite some time because I've been very happily employed at Hubbard Broadcasting. I got to imagine Kevin O'Connell kills at a job interview, which obviously he did. He got the job. But he seems like a guy, like most people get nervous with a job interview. I personally think that's fun. I love a job interview.
Yeah, because you're prepared.
Kevin O'Connell, you can tell, is not saying a sweet talker in a negative way.
Right.
He can charm a room, man. I like it.
Absolutely. I wonder how close, so when he got done playing, you know, he did some TV work at first. And I think was it for Fox? It wasn't national. I think it was regional college football. I wonder if the network tried to keep him. Because, I mean, he definitely, like, that's a guy, and I know he's not a big name, or he wasn't, is now. But that's a guy who you got to think would be damn good on TV, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he does. He gets it. He just gets it. And I think a lot of coaches don't care. Like, I think they just don't care about that. He clearly cares. And yeah, he is definitely a guy who is easy to gravitate towards. You can tell quarterback wise. Okay. So he clearly didn't have the skill, talent, blah, blah, blah of playing the position professionally, but he's wired 100%. Like, I think he was a 3rd round pick because I think he blew Belichick's drawers off when he talked to him. Yeah. Like, sit down with him as a quarterback, and that's a kid or a guy now. Kevin O'Connell, I think, is a guy that walks into a room and can pretty much own it. And that's one of the most important things. And I'm not saying he tells you, pay attention to me, Kevin O'Connell. I'm saying he walks in and starts talking and people are like, oh, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, oh, yeah, we'll do. So There's a lot of things with him that you can see the temptation of pro teams to be like, if we can get his skill set right, like his mechanics and blah, 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 he is 100% from the shoulders up wired to be a quarterback in this league.
I think this is Al Post, or maybe it's AI Post. I don't know if this is an I or an L. Regardless, I'm surprised KLC came on the show after they torched his favorite quarterback all last season, saying about Kirk Cousins. Surprised that Kevin O'Connell came on the show after we torched Kirk Cousins.
Is that serious or is that a joke? Or is that in jest?
It's in text, so I can't see the sarcasm key shifted on or off.
Because it could be a joke. It could be a... Yeah, if Kevin O'Connell stopped going on shows on which they torched the quarterback, I believe his only appearances might be on one show on KFAN.
Probably accurate.
Colin Cowherd just had him on. As I recall, Colin was not exactly Kirk's biggest fan. So, yeah, Kevin gets it. And you know what? That guy's gone now.
Callan says, I'm 2 years older than Judd and barely remember Fran Tarkington. This off the Sam Darnold watched, or JJ McCarthy watched Sam Darnold rant that took place yesterday on Purple Daily.
Yep.
Basically, his last 3 years watching Tarkington. I grew up watching 2 Minute Tommy from the late 70s and 80s. And yes, if JJ started watching Darnold at 13, then I'd say he grew up watching him. Judd's being stubborn.
Nope. That guy is so in 1980, he was what, 12?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. It's close, but he wasn't a teenager. Cutoff line.
I mean, I have fond memories of Dante as a youth, and I remember the roll on. I remember 41 Don't. Yeah, I remember watching it, and I was 8.
Yeah,
I had just turned 8.
Yep.
When 41
I was 8 when
Tarkington
happened. Retired, and I'd watched him.
I was 8 years old a month before the 41 Donut game. But I will say, like, by the time I was in middle school, which would be 13, 14, that's when I really was conscious about the league and things that are going on and about my favorite team and not just loving the jersey number necessarily. So I will say, yes, he maybe didn't grow up with them, but those are very formidable years as you become a sports fan, in my opinion. Like, those are the years where you start knowing other players, you start knowing other teams, you're picking up things around the league. Things start to click, in my opinion, around 13, 14, though.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but you didn't grow up watching those guys. You were already a sports fan. You were in on it. You were in. No, that's fine. That's fine. Kevin said you got served, Judd. I like that one. I like that one.
Alex says, as a Vikings fan from New York and no relation to Minnesota whatsoever, I was curious about the sports landscape in the Twin Cities. I become familiar with the mindset of sports fans in the area through various accounts I follow on Twitter. But my question is this. Of the Vikings, Twins, Wolves, and Wild, which team do you think means the most to the city, and which championship would set the city on fire the most? We can both confidently say the Vikings.
Yeah, it's not even
It'd be insane. It'd be insane.
It's not even number 2 might be a debate.
I know that is actually a debate.
I think it's the Twins. I think that's the Twins, but it could be. I mean, the Wolves, that was genuine, but it's the Vikings are 1 through 5 or 1 through 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not close.
And look, you and I are both big hockey guys. I think it'd be incredible to see the Stanley Cup parade paraded around here.
Absolutely. And the city would rally around it. Like any team. So the Wolves playoff run was indicative of what happens in this town.
Right.
If like the Wild, the Wolves. I think the Twins Twins might be a little bit clear of those two teams. I don't know that. But anyway, like that Wolves enthusiasm was not just a Wolves thing. When the Wild made their very odd run in 2003, the town was abuzz. People were staying up, till midnight to watch the Canucks Wild second round series. But this is not close. I mean, the Vikings are, first of all, yes, they have not won one. And, unlike the Wolves and Wild, they've been around since 1961. The Vikings have. And second of all, this is a Vikings town. Unless you want to fight me, I don't think there's any debate about that. This is a Vikings town.
I don't.
Our show proves that.
Yes, I agree.
Purple Daily proves that.
When I was, I checked out the block party for Game 2 of the Wolves and Mavs, and the energy around Target Center in downtown Minneapolis, I have no prerequisite for that. So
Yeah,
I don't know what that is like. And to see that and experience that vibe of, oh, this is what this is supposed to feel like. There's energy and there's positivity and there's not even positive. There's belief that this team might be going to the GD Finals.
Yeah.
I have no prerequisite for that as a 31-year-old Minnesota sports fan and native.
Yeah. And the Twins parades were phenomenal. I mean, those things, that whole, the 87 and 91 runs were just phenomenal, okay? Yeah. And I was there for both of those. I still think that the Vikings would blow the drawers off that.
Yeah.
I think it would be. I've said part of the reason, as this show talks about, that I'd like to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before I die is I think the town might shut down for an entire week.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know.
Like, I think no one might go to work.
Yeah.
I think the town might just shut down.
Yeah.
So.
Good call. All right, man. He's in the background. He's ready to rock.
He's here.
We do our snake draft.
Let's do
Good
it.
to go.
Let's do it. Snake draft time.
Let's get our guy in here. AJ, what's
the
up,
hair.
pal?
Look at
How
the
we
hair.
doing, buddy?
The hair
What's
is
going
here.
on, everybody? I know with
good.
Phil out today, I'm sure the Purple Daily community was chittering, chattering, whispering, like, who are they going to get? Who's going to fill the role? Who could it be? They just had Kevin O'Connell the other day. Will it be a former superstar athlete?
Yep.
No, it is the guy that cuts a lot of videos out in the office here. So a little underwhelming, but
Don't
we're
sell
here.
yourself
We're ready.
short. You're also a key part of Judd's hockey show. Come on.
Very true. Very true.
And we tease this age, and we'll have Phil on with this because I want Phil to have the full strength conversation with this. Your hot dog thing got brought up in passing at the end of a couple of Purple Daily episodes ago, and we want more intel on that, which is also why we're doing best items to grill for our snake draft here today too. So, let's go with this with the order. I had the third pick last week, so we'll go AJ number 1. We'll give AJ the honors of the first pick.
Okay.
I will go second. Judd will go third and wrap around for 2 picks in a row.
Okay.
Then back to me, AJ for 2, Declan for 1, Judd rounding out the order. So AJ, Declan, Judd. These are best things to grill. I understand there might be a little bit of some overlap here. I will just say, and I'm not picking till the second pick, so I'll say hot dogs and brats are separate, if that makes sense. So like if someone took a hot dog,
no, they're not
brats
the same.
and Polish sausage are on the table still.
I've got a question. Before we start, do things that complement the meal but can be grilled count?
Yeah, absolutely.
So because I've got one. That,
I know
that Dawn cooks up. That's absolutely fantastic. But it's not the main thing.
Yeah. Anything
that can
grill.
be put on the grill. Okay, that's what I wanted to clear up.
Anything that you can put on the grill.
Yep.
Orthodox, unorthodox, doesn't matter. So, Age, you have the honors. I don't have the chimes with me here, but you have the honors with the first overall selection and the best things to grill snake draft. You are on the clock. What is your first pick, sir?
You guys just gifted me the draft. This is the number 1 pick that is better.
Ending the draft.
This is the generational pick here. Like there is such a big, in my mind, discrepancy between this pick and picks number 2, 3 through 7, whatever it may be. This is a huge gap. This covers the bases. Nobody hates these. Everybody loves these. Give me, with the first overall selection, hamburgers. Hamburgers on the grill.
Yep.
That sizzle. You throw a little cheese on there. You work it. Everybody loves a good hamburger. There's nothing more American than right out. 4th of July, you're right over the grill, flipping patties, talking to your buddies. Hey, how are you? And then right into a beef burger. Love it.
I'm with Age on this.
I agree that, because I love them. Burgers are fantastic. Is this a generational talent, or is this just a 10-year solid starter?
Oh, this
I think it's generational. I'm with
Really?
generational.
I don't know if it's generational. Okay.
I think Burgers is the type of athlete that up-and-coming athletes are going to model their game after. They're gonna watch him for generations.
Okay. All right.
You know?
Okay. So you're saying it's like the 1983 quarterback draft. You just took You just took one of the greats of all time. Okay.
Yes.
Burgers, I think, would have been the favorite on the money line for number one. So AJ is right. He's off to a good start with this team here. All right, I'm gonna be this guy because if Burgers were going to go number one, which I thought they were, and if they fell to 2, well, then look out. I'm winning this draft. I love that AJ just didn't get cute and went with it right away. I will take steak.
Yep.
I will take steak with the number 2. I love if I could eat red meat every day of my life, I would. And in fact, I probably can. I'm built to eat red meat every day. I don't think it's going to kill me quite yet. And of course, I love a rare steak.
Well,
I know I am,
but it will eventually catch up to you.
Eventually, we'll catch up. The sodium in the red meat probably isn't the best thing, but
Doctor doesn't
a nice rare steak. Personally, I'm a New York strip guy myself. Of course, you have a ribeye, you have fillets, you have T-bones, you have a bunch of different types of steaks. I am going to take steaks with my first selection at the number 2 overall spot. Judd, you have 2 picks back-to-back on the board here with the 3rd and 4th pick.
And this was so simple that the card has already been turned in. The commissioner has the card. I didn't take my allotted time because I don't need it for back-to-back picks. My first pick, 3rd overall in the snake draft, is going to be brats.
Yes.
Okay.
Brats.
Okay.
Now it can have cheese inside. Maybe not. Mine personally don't. I don't have cheese inside my brats, but I love and to the point before, I like hot dogs, but brats, like I think hot dogs get taken here, but they are in my opinion a bottom 6 forward compared to a brat because a brat is a staple. And then I'm going to pair this with a little bit of probably a surprise, but you can find these at Byerly's, at Cub, and they're real good in the summer. Kebab.
Oh, dang it! You sniped me!
Kebab. Love going. Credit to Dawn. She told me a long time ago. She's like, we should get kebabs to grill. I'm like, really? And you know what? Here's where I am. Here's where I am being very selfish.
Got robbed.
Everything. Kebab has everything. It's got some
I know.
steak in it. It's got veggies. It can have some chicken. I just covered the gamut. So I'm going brats and kebabs.
I took steaks.
You shouldn't have waited for kebabs.
Knowing that I didn't think people were going to grab kebabs because this is a big kebab house I'm in right now.
Yeah, exactly right. I've had
Huge kebab
written
house.
down since 9:45.
Oh my god.
9:45 a.m. I wrote down kebabs.
I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked by how high you both are on kebabs.
I
Kebabs
thought
were not even on my big board.
Oh, I feel
Interesting.
like that's a rookie mistake. I feel like you're young. I feel like you're young.
They weren't on my first overall selection, but I thought I could sneak a fast one by both of you, and clearly I fooled AJ. AJ didn't even think of them, but
No, you didn't
Sportstad
fool
was
him.
on there.
He didn't want it.
No,
He's
they're a
not
day.
fooled.
They're a day 2 pick in my book. Day 2.
Wow.
Not even sniffing.
You
the
know what,
first.
young man? I feel like in 10 years, if I'm still here, come back to me. I think you're putting kebabs on the board.
Well, I mean, maybe I'll change. Maybe not. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I think I'm gonna go BPA here. I'm just gonna go best player available.
You're
Judd
thrilled.
took brats. I will take hot dogs. I'll just take hot dogs. I'll pair
Texas
that well at the steak. No need to overcomplicate things now that Judd sniped my dream scenario of a great option falling to me. It got snagged by the jaws of life of Judd. So I will take hot dogs with my second selection to pair with the steaks. We go to AJ now. He gets 2 back-to-back picks to round out his snake draft team.
All right. This next one, I mean, I talked about my first one, just like holiday season. It's a group setting. You're out grilling, great vibes, great times. And I think this next pick of mine kind of fits into that as well. We're going to go with ribs. Just ribs on the grill.
Yeah.
Just out there flipping it, slathering it up in the barbecue sauce. It gets a little messy, but who doesn't mind that?
Yeah.
You're at the comfort of your own home. You're in your own backyard. Get it all over the bib. That's fine. I'm going to take ribs with my second round pick. And then if we swing right into the third round, I think based off the strength of my first 2 picks in my own mind, I can go a little maybe out of left field here. I'm going to maybe throw a curveball.
Yeah.
Because Judd, I thought he was hinting at this with his something that adds to the meal, not necessarily the main course.
Okay.
I'm going to go corn on the cob.
Ah,
Grilled corn on the
one.
cob.
Good one. That's not mine, but that's a great one.
I love a good
Dex is having a bad draft. Let's stop this right now to get some live reaction from the Eastern Burbs. Dex, what's wrong?
Oh God, I
Come on back. Don't go off the camera.
I wanted a veggie option to round out my two great meats. And now I feel like I might have to go beefy to round things out. I've gotten sniped twice.
You're having
I am that
really
guy.
rough draft.
I'm the guy at the fantasy football draft, just fuming right now because I didn't make the right selection.
I think you got cocky.
Somehow every pick was your pick.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
But
you
corn
got
on the
cocky.
cob, I agree, Age. It especially grilled. People, because you can just throw it in the pot and it's fine. You can boil it, and it's fine. It's easy. Yeah. But you're right. Summertime, cabin or with the friends, got a cookout barbecue going on. Grilled corn on the cob is next level.
Yep. Yeah. And just slathered in butter.
A good ear of corn is
yeah, dude.
unbelievable. There's a big gap between good and bad corn, but when you get a good ear of corn,
right.
you get it all charred up, you get that, like you said, slathered in butter, a little salt sprinkled on there.
Side Street, what's got more, like what are foods that are seasonal and you have to get them at the exact right time? Corn on the cob is one to me. Like if you get it at the right time, it's phenomenal. If you don't, it can be okay or bad. Watermelon is another one. You've got to get it. But I mean, I feel like tomatoes, they talk about like that, but I feel like tomatoes, there's a lot of, decent to good, but watermelon, which I love, is an absolute sweet spot buy. And if you don't get the sweet spot, it's just tasteless.
Peaches are in that group for me.
Okay.
They got to be. There's like a month and a half maybe, and they're perfect. Anything else, it tastes that.
Oh, and like you bite into a peach and it the juice flies all over.
Yes,
because it's so ripe. Oh God, that's great.
If you're close, you're in the splash zone for that first bite.
Yeah, that's okay. Again, you're at home.
Yeah,
get a paper towel, clean yourself up. Okay,
right.
am I next or is Dex next?
I think I'm next to round out.
Dex, you look like you're constipated now.
I'm upset.
You're like,
I'm just gonna go real heavy here into the meat.
Aborting mission.
Very heavy into the meat. Give me a grilled chicken breast. I love chicken breast grilled, and there is nothing like it is the preferred way to eat chicken. You can't. I love my air fryer. I use my air fryer for just about every little thing. You can't put chicken breast in the air fryer. It has the rubbery feel. It's not as good. I don't like cooking it inside the house either. It gets all smoky in there. You don't want to deal with that. It is best on those grill marks on a nice propane tank. So give me chicken breast. So I will have steaks, hot dogs, chicken breasts, round out my best things to grill.
All right. So that leaves the last pick of the draft, correct?
Yep, to you.
This is it?
To you.
For me. And so this is my Brock Purdy pick, okay? He's fallen through. We're not sure what we're going to get, but we're very pleased with this pick. I am going to go with, and I don't know if you guys have done this or do this, but Dawn's an expert at it. It is potatoes on the grill when you cut them up.
Diced potatoes.
Diced up, and you burn them.
Yep.
But you don't burn them too much, so they're not like gross burned, but they're crispy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It is. And then, like, as a side to the brats or the burgers or steak, I don't care what it is, absolutely fantastic. And it is one of the best uses of a potato that, in my opinion, and there's a ton of way to cook them, that you can have. So I'm going potatoes.
I feel regret with my team here.
I can tell you're very bitter about the fact that you either lost. Well, you got cocky because you thought that we weren't going to come prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I feel like there were also some ones where you're like, oh, I should have done that. Yeah. This is easily your most difficult snake draft.
I definitely should have just taken corn with the second and come back with chicken breast I could have done that.
I could have done that. No,
yes.
Right.
Yeah, this is regret. I like my options. I'm great with them. I eat all three of these food groups all the damn time, but I was looking for a good side. They all got robbed. Like, I was going to put onions. Like, I love grilled onions, but that's an acquired thing. I don't know if that would crack a lot of people's snake draft, but I do love a grilled onion.
Yeah.
Bell peppers are an option, but still, like, I think I'm getting way too cute with grilling bell peppers on my 3 picks for a snake draft.
Yeah.
In terms of like other veggies, I'd like asparagus was kind of there for me, but I'm surprised neither of you went with either like a brisket or shrimp. Grilled shrimp is great.
That is good. Brisket, I'm not. I'd probably love it. We just don't do it. I don't think we've ever done a brisket.
We grill shrimp a lot actually here.
That's a good one.
But I just didn't. I thought there'd be better options above it. It is definitely maybe your UDFA board. It's definitely high up there. Yeah. Portobello. I'm not a mushroom guy. I know portobello people love mushrooms. I am not a mushroom guy.
Oh, really?
I can't stand them.
Really?
Can't stand them. Yep.
I'm with you.
Cooked? See, like
either or. I do not care for them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Now, because I would imagine that there's people out there that don't like them not cooked, but when they're grilled up, because the grill changes the taste of things to me for the better.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it definitely. Yeah, technically, it's a good point.
I'm gonna learn from this draft.
You took Booth.
I'm not cutting steak though. I'm not cutting steak after 2 years. This is still a great. I got a good first pick. I'm not denying the first pick.
I feel like you thought that your opponents were going to come in unprepared somehow.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you thought Age would be like, well, he's going to be happy to be on the show, so he's going to drop the ball, or you thought, well, Judd can't. I mean, Judd doesn't grill, so who cares? Because, Dawn grills. So that's all I need.
And Abrizi's right here. Like, brisket's great, but you need the smoker, and it does take a long time. That's my only problem with brisket.
I think AJ to me sounds like he's a little bit more of a master grill type of guy than I am. Like, I'm literally talking about stuff that you throw on the grill. So of mine that I picked, I think the potatoes probably in our family are the longest cooking thing, and it's not that long.
Right.
Like Age, I feel like you are a little bit more of a, big grill cooker, whatever the hell you call those things. Grill master. And like you're an all like I feel like you could go all day with something. I've never done that, nor would I.
Growing up, my pops had a like a smoker. He had a smoker, so that'd be like
smoker's what I'm trying to think of.
Up in the morning, you get the wood chips, and then you're getting the meat. It's absorbing all that flavor, and then you slap it on the grill. Yeah, so I mean, brisket absolutely
sounds great.
Tremendous. The brisket is like an all day thing, but I think in terms of what my draft panned out to be, the fact that I could get corn on the cob, thank you, Declan, in the third round is amazing.
You sniped. Yeah, if somebody was to actually have the smoker and invite me to their house for a brisket, and it's just about done, like they've worked all day, they've slaved, and then I just show up,
reap the benefits,
and I pounce as I hit my mic.
Yeah.
I got so excited. I would do that, but I'm not going to be involved in the actual process.
I'm with you.
My mic.
That's all right.
AJ will put out a graphic on the Score North Twitter account of all these options. There's a poll each week. I know Judd won the first week. Mackey redeemed himself after an atrocious performance. You talk about reaching for picks in the first draft, okay? But he didn't have regret. I will say that about Phil. Phil was convicted in his picks.
Yeah, he was.
Is grilled calamari still on the board? Ahi tuna, is that still on the board for this draft?
For Phil, it 100% would be on there for him.
I felt like that first one was done with Dex and I in a bar, like a normal bar, and like Phil was at some type of exclusive hoity-toity club, and it's like, yeah, the app's there, but I never think of those apps. Like, I'll happily take them.
Yeah.
But I thought that we were talking about like, hey, it's a Saturday, you're in a bar, you're watching a game, you got a beer. What apps do you want? And then Phil's like, oh, no, with my Pinot Grigio, I like this.
And Phil, by the way, is still watching those football games in those exact same locations on a Saturday. So I think that's where he got tripped up.
Phil's bar has a bathroom attendant. That's like to tell you the level of...
Yeah, they've got
the cologne, soap, the towel. Yeah.
I've never understood that. That job would be... On my snake draft of most disgusting jobs,
I wouldn't do it. Attendant. I wouldn't do that. No.
Like,
and you got to tip them, which I absolutely hate.
Well, frankly, and this may let me know, because I know I'm not the main guy on here, so I don't want to gross anybody out. But like, if something's not sitting right at the bar, if you're going in there, frankly, I would like a little privacy. I don't want you hearing every single grunt and groan coming from the bathroom.
And I'm clearing out.
Yeah,
and I'm clearing out. If I'm the attendant, I'm out of there. Like, that's a bomb.
I'll tip him to leave.
Yeah.
Like I will tip
Okay.
him to stand outside.
Can you stand outside for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But before we get done, one more question. 2024. Now, are bathroom attendants still a thing or no?
I don't know. I've never actually experienced.
Like I've seen them more in like
one.
Chicago,
I've experienced one.
New
Yeah.
York. I
Yes.
feel like they're not here that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, if they are still a thing, what's more like off-putting? Bathroom attendant who expects to be tipped because they might like push the soap dispenser or hand you a towel to dry your hands, or going to like a Subway now and going through and now
They ask for tip.
getting a tip. Hey,
Yeah,
would you
no.
like to tip?
No.
It's like, hold on a second. So like what's more, I gotta admit the Subway one really annoys me.
Yep.
I guess if I grew up with it, I'd be like, oh, okay, I've always seen this. But like just to arbitrarily in my old age start to just add this, do you want a tip for something? You know, what?
So someone pointed this out. If I am standing and ordering and I'm not going to sit down, I don't tip. If I have to
I agree with
stand
that.
throughout the whole process, I'm going up and I'm standing and I'm waiting and I'm getting the thing that I have ordered, I am not tipping. If I'm sitting down and I'm being served,
Right.
different story. But if I'm standing through a
Good one.
line, I'm not tipping.
Yep.
Yes,
where I'm at.
big time. Like if you go to the counter, I have no guilt in swinging that tablet back around with a giant nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's unpopular, but
But here's my thing too is if a Subway, which they do now, is asking you to tip, then Subway should just pay their employees more.
That's also a good point. Look at us
make it
solving the world
Sandwich
economy.
artists. These are artists. These are educated people. They're artists.
Yep. And we will gladly take Subway sponsoring Purple Daily, and we will be
love
eating at
Subway.
Subway every day
I
if
love
they'd be
Oh,
very
are you
fortunate
kidding?
to
I'd
support
get
this
some
podcast.
sandwiches delivered. I love it. All right.
All right, hit the like button, subscribe button. This is Purple Daily. You saw our best things to grill snake draft. Keep an eye out on Score North Twitter to vote on your best team. Pity me with a vote, please, please.